Hi everyone, I've got a Huzar exhaust that I had shipped from Poland, and I'm going to install it on my Tenere 700. I had the exhaust shipped I had a Huzar exhaust shipped from Poland recently, and I'm going to install it on my Tenere 700. Shipping was really easy. I'll put the link and the email to the folks there at Huzar in the description, so you can contact them. It's a little bit different. It's not exactly easy on their website, but with email it's super easy to get it shipped, and it's cheap, and I'm hoping it works out well. So first of all, I'll just explain what comes in the kit from Huzar. Of course, we have the muffler and the pipe, and then the hardware that comes with it is a mounting bracket, mounting hardware for mounting the pipe up here to the original bracket. Of course, it comes with a clamping ring down here to mount the pipe to the existing exhaust, and a couple of springs to mount the muffler to the new pipe, and a little, they call it decibel killer, to put in the exhaust if we want. Step one, of course, is going to be to remove the old exhaust. So I'll take this is a 6mm Allen down here on the exhaust, and then up here is an 8mm Allen. And it's tight. There we go. And it has a 10mm wrench on the back. I'm just going to use my crescent wrench since I have it here. Sorry, it's a 10mm nut. Okay, so a nut and washer on the back. Sorry, just a nut on the back. The washer, or the big recessed washer, goes in the front. And remove our stock exhaust. I am hoping I can use this heat guard. Maybe this one somehow, I'm not sure, but I'm hoping to kind of make something to work on this new exhaust, because I've seen people use different types of guards. Thing is, it'll burn your boot. This new pipe mounted right there could burn the heel of your boot, melt it, if we don't put some protection on it. So I'm going to try to make something work. Next, we just fit the pipe on. So we'll put your clamp over the pipe first, slip it on, and I'm just going to tighten it up just a little bit, just to make sure, just kind of hold things on but loose a little bit while we work on it. And that is a 10mm bolt. Okay. Now up here I'll take our mounting hardware for the pipe. This is a 5mm hex. It just slips over the pipe. Mounts up. And again, I'll just kind of get it started, but I'm going to leave it a bit loose so that I can work with it. Now we'll take the muffler, and I slipped the mounting bracket over it. I purchased a spark arrestor from Camel. So here it is. It's the 51mm spark arrestor from Camel. It fits perfectly in this muffler. It's very cheap. And I'm going to put it on the inlet of the muffler. It goes right in there and just kind of sits up against a little ridge right inside the muffler. So that'll make me legal. Now we just slip our pipe down on there. Now, I knew this was going to be a little tight with my new signal light with this fender eliminator kit from Tusk that I put on. I'm just going to work it around. I might end up having to put a shield up there, I'm not sure. Or it might just work, but I'll play with that. So this is the one thing about the Huzar exhaust, is that in order to mount it, unless you find some other way, but what they explain is that you need to cut this plastic under here, a little slot in it, in order to get this bracket up through that slot, up, so that it goes up. That's the hole for the, like, your luggage rack or handles from stock. So it has to go up through the plastic, up in front of that, and then we'll bolt through it. So you are going to have to cut your bike a little bit, unless you find some other way to mount it to a rack or something. But this is what I'm going to do. So I'll mark it out very carefully, just down here, a little slot, cut it with a knife, slide this up in there, and then we'll be able to mount the bracket. I've got my slot built and it works. I've put it up. It does end up being a little tricky because the bolt ends up pretty high up in there, so the nut is kind of inside of the slot when you're done. So what I'm going to have to do is put the bolt on the bracket, tighten everything up, then put it up in there. But in order to do that, I need to know exactly where it is on the muffler first. So what I've done is I've put the bracket, lined it up. I put some very small little marks on the muffler where the bracket goes. I'll take the muffler off, and I'm going to put the bracket where it goes, mount this on, tighten this bolt all up so that it's all ready to go. Then I'll put it up in the slot all put together, and I'll be able to put this top bolt in. Okay, so I put my Tusk rack back on just to show how everything goes together. So that's the mounting bolt that goes through, and that's where you have to cut that slot and put that mounting bracket up through. And it turns out it is going to work great with my Tusk fender eliminator on the back. I'll just go through and tighten things up. I ended up sliding this down lower than I think they recommend. What that does is get me down below my lights. Exhaust shouldn't melt anything. Everything should work well. And there it is. So I'm going to start working on trying to get a heat guard onto the pipe here, and I'll show that after I tighten everything up. I'll also mount or install the springs. So I can't really do it with one hand while I'm recording this, but I'll just pull that up onto the clip. Here's everything installed. I've tightened everything. I pulled the springs up, and I tightened this bottom clamp. So it's rock solid, and just give you a shot of what it looks like. So the main reason I swapped the exhaust out is to get it out off of the swing arm, like everyone has pointed out. And definitely I dropped it several times and hit that muffler, and it moved a little. Thankfully I never hit the swing arm. But this should fix that problem. But also it tucks it back in there, gives me more room, and it sounds better. I went ahead and took the upper heat guard off of the stock exhaust, and it looks a little hokey, but I hose clamped the bottom mounting plate on and then bolted the top plate on, and it'll work for sure, and it doesn't look terrible. In fact, probably no one would really notice that the hose clamps are on there. I just know that they're down there. And that's what it looks like finished. Looks pretty good. I'm happy with it. So that's the mounting of the Huzar exhaust on my Tenere 700. Thanks everyone for watching. It sounds great, and it's way lighter than the stock exhaust. I'm really happy with it. So hope this helps. I'll put links to the different products I used in the description. Thanks, and subscribe and like, please.